What's up, everybody? It's Avcami. Today we are here in this beautiful Subaru, chilling at the beach. We are vibing. Today's topic that we're going to speak on is about self-perception. You know, it's important to have a good perception of yourself and understand who you are only to yourself, within yourself. I feel like a lot of public opinions. Oh shit. I feel like a lot of opinions now, publicly, kind of force people to sort of only find their value from external resources, like people, situations, people's reaction to things. I would say is the biggest issue in this aspect. Too many people live their whole lives only doing things based off of what other people will think of them afterwards, or only being with people based off of how they'll be seen and how they'll be judged. And if they're judged in a negative way, then they'll get rid of those things, even if it means a lot to them. And that's just wrong. It's just wrong to do that. Not only to think that way about yourself, because then you're always looking for external validation. But imagine all of the people that you hurt in the process, in all the situations that you hurt in the process. While that's on your mind, you're not necessarily worried about how it affects other people, because you're so caught up in, oh, what is this person going to think of me if I drive this car? Oh, they'll think I'm cool, then that's my favorite car now. Instead of going to a car that you enjoy, or a place you enjoy for you, because you actually want to be there, not because other people will see that you're there. But my question is to you, how often can you just sit alone in your room and do absolutely nothing? Just be with yourself, enjoy yourself. A lot of people would say no. They would get bored, they would feel like they have to do something. And although, that's not a bad thing, of course, because as humans, we want to be busy. We always want to be doing something that feels productive to us. But the only problem that it arises is you don't give yourself time to realize the things you're actually doing for yourself versus the things you're doing for other people. Like for some of my subscribers who might work out, right? Like physical workout, lifting weights or whatever. I bet somebody who is only a part of that lifestyle because of how other people will see them, not because it makes them more confident within themselves. In my opinion, that's a really scary line to live on, because the moment that any external validation disappears and just dissipates, you feel like you lose yourself. You feel like you don't know who you are, you feel like you're not good enough, all this shit. That's because you don't have a good self-perception of yourself. When I was younger, I used to have a terrible self-perception of myself. For me personally, I wasn't necessarily worried about what other people thought of me because I knew who I was. But what I dealt with in that aspect was that I felt as if nobody would accept me for who I am. So then I forced myself into a state of solitude because I could accept myself, but I couldn't understand why nobody else could. You need to understand that who you are is only a creation of the things you've been through, whether that's good or bad. Not a single human on this earth is perfect, no matter how well social media might portray them to be as such. Nobody is. So why chase external validation for perfectionism when you should already know inside the perfect you? But the problem is you go through all that work just to find out that the external validation didn't exist, and then you give up because you don't care anymore. You don't care about yourself anymore because you're like, well, they didn't care, so why should I care about myself? That's not right, And I didn't always understand this either. And even some of this might not fully resonate with you yet. And that's okay. Because in time, everyone figures it out naturally. Everyone will get to a point where they see that existence is a battle. Existence is war. Within your own mind. And the only way to overcome that is to be there for yourself. When you think of yourself, or when you look in the mirror, do you think highly, or do you think poorly? It's fair to think neutral. But, in my opinion, in a non-selfish way, we all have traits to think amazing about ourselves. And we all know what we should do to do better for ourselves. Nowadays on social media, I'm going to say this very vaguely, everybody wants to be accepted for who they are. And that's good. Because, you know, everybody deserves acceptance. But at the same time, do you want other people to accept you? Or do you want to accept yourself? That's the question. If you can accept yourself, if you truly deep down accept yourself for who you are, then not an inch of you will want or even care for how other people accept you. And that's something I realized when I was younger. Because I always, thought I would always try to tell myself, oh yeah, I accept myself. Back then I would find ways to have a lack of confidence or I just wouldn't feel comfortable with myself. And I didn't feel like I deserved anything. And you lose out on so many situations like that. So many situations and even people. All because your own self-value is low. It's helped me a lot in recent months, actually, to really raise my self-perception. And I feel the best way to raise your self-perception is self-accountability. If you can understand the things that you're doing wrong within yourself and then change them, not for anybody but yourself. We start alone, we end alone. And throughout your whole life, every single day, you're hanging out with yourself. Why can't you look at it like that? Instead of just sitting here, just hating yourself, feeling anxious or insecure because you can't fit in or whatever. Damn. When you left foot brake a little bit in the Subi, it really likes to get that rear end to kick out. That's nice. Also, apparently they added some longer night cycles. I think that came with this update. We're at 17 minutes on this recording. And it's sunset, as you can see. So, I'll let you know. And as I've said in these types of videos, I don't know everything. I'm not perfect. There's still things I could be wrong about. There could be things that work better for you, but I feel as if a lot of these things that I'm saying have helped me on a tremendous level. If all of your motivation is from external validation, then it's kind of interesting, right? Because a lot of the times when it comes to maybe relationships or even friendships, like, people don't want somebody who's not confident. So when people hop into relationships where they end up using their significant other or friend for their only source of external validation, it's wrong. Because the moment they're not there, they need them. You shouldn't need anyone but yourself. For the entirety of your life, you will always be there for yourself. So why not form that bond within yourself? Now for me, I'm kind of weird, so I have a lot of different thoughts in my mind that I kind of say is like different voices, I guess. That's how I kind of look at all my thoughts. I see my negative thoughts as a voice of mine, and I see my positive thoughts as a voice of mine, and I see my neutral thoughts as me. My neutral thoughts are me, and the negatives are me, and the positives are me, but it's three different voices. And personally, that helps me pick apart thoughts that come into my mind. Like, oh, these people are staring at me. I wonder what they're thinking. Oh, they could be thinking that I'm attractive. Oh, they could be thinking that I'm ugly. That's one and the same. Whatever, I'll move on. I know who I am, and I know that I'm a good person. Not in a way of being any worse or any better than anyone, but I know that I'm a good person. And that's just really it though, isn't it? Because the moment that you can have a high self-perception is the moment that other people can see that through you. Because you're constantly not living for reaction. You're not living for validation. You're living to better yourself. So whether somebody will come up and judge you, or somebody will come up and tell you the best compliment that you've ever heard in your life, it's not going to change the way you look at yourself. You know, if it's a compliment, sure, in the moment it might make you feel a little better, but either way, you are still going to look at yourself the same until you, within, come to that realization. You know what? Yeah, I am a good person. You know what? Yeah, I am beautiful. Again, not from a way of I'm better than them, but also not from a way of I'm worse than them. You know? Just understanding you compared to nobody but yourself before from the past. That is who you should be comparing yourself to. Who were you a year ago, and how much have you improved yourself since? Do you feel better about yourself? Are you eating more? Are you eating right? Are you working out? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you doing the things you enjoy to do? And that is self-accountability. Realizing where you're wrong. And instead of pushing it away or blaming other people, you accept within yourself that you're wrong. And then that opens up doors. Thousands of doors for you to walk through and pick apart little things about your personality and your habits that may serve you or may hurt you. Yeah, not being able to see the difference of those two things is a very closed-minded way of living life. Now I just want to say, every time I say a statistic like this, unless I say where the proof or source is coming from, it is all from my personal experience. But I would say that a good 70% of everybody who will click on this video is 21 or under. And that's why I feel it's important for me to, I guess, kind of speak on this. I've always wanted to make this type of video right here, where I'm just talking and cruising. But the reason that I couldn't was because I was judging myself, and I was afraid of what, people might think, or people might disagree with me, or think I'm like a bad person for one of my opinions. But then I realized, I know who I am. Nobody will ever know who I am more than me. And that statement within yourself, understanding that statement within yourself, is one of the most powerful things when it comes to self-appreciation. Because it's not from a place, like I've said, of being better than anyone. Just because I think something doesn't mean I'm better than you, but it also doesn't mean I'm worse than you. I will say, the time of recording is now at oh shit. I will say though, that the time of the recording is at 29 minutes. So, it's been dark for 12 minutes. Usually that shit goes away in one mountain run. But I was able to get from the other side of the map to the mountain, and then up the mountain, and now I'm going down the other side. This is amazing. Let's go over this jump. Oh, now my whole car's totaled. But having confidence is a very interesting line. It's also a dangerous line. Because having confidence is great. Feeling great about yourself, within yourself, for yourself, is great. But when you have too much confidence, that's where it becomes a problem. And you're probably thinking, well, how can you have too much confidence? Well, that's where the people who are driven by their ego come in. You know, you think so highly of yourself that everybody, no matter what, is below you. And that's wrong. No matter where you are, everybody should be equal to you. Sure, you know, compared to a lot of people, I might be better than them at playing Forza. But at the same time, whenever I go on the rivals leaderboards, now that they're not filled with hackers, it's not like I can get first place. You know what I'm saying? No matter what profession that you're in, there will always be somebody better than you. Always be a faster driver. There will always be something. Unless you're Max Verstappen. But honestly, like... Oh, fuck, I lost sound again. Un momento. It might make you feel empowered to be driven from your ego and to feel like you're better than every other person. That might give you a sense of power, but in reality, it's just hurting you.
You have arrived at your destination.
It's blocking you from meeting people that might humble you and show you that there's many different aspects of life than just you being better than everyone else. The difference between competition and ego. Like I was saying with Max Verstappen earlier. He's absolutely dominating everybody. Nobody's even close. And the thing that... Oh, shit. But for him, you know, maybe he might get that stray thought that is like, wow, I'm better than everyone. But he knows that if he was thrown into a Haas right now, he would not be able to do what he's doing. And he understands that Lewis Hamilton has way more championships than he does. He understands he's not the best driver of all time. And he understands that there's people that are worse than him. But yet he's winning every race. And that's competition. The competition is driving him to win, not the want to be better than everyone else. And sure, you know, as a racer, obviously, your goal is to win. And to win, you are being better than everyone else. But you're not thinking of it like that. You know, someone could, like for Forza, for example, whenever you do an online race, every time you're rammed off the track. Or you might get some understeer and fly off the side of a cliff. You know what I mean? Damn, this night is going for a while. We're at 35 minutes now. We started at 17. I wonder if they're equal. That's interesting. Let's get some slides in. Because why not? Right next to the water. My main thing that I want you to take away from watching this episode is to become your own best friend. That doesn't necessarily mean, you know, get rid of people. Sure, if people are hurting you or not accepting you for who you are, then there's no reason for them to continue to diminish your energy. But become your best friend. You will always be there for yourself for the rest of your life. And while we're young, we need to understand this as soon as we can. And I wish somebody could have told me the things I know sooner. So, if I can help people that are where I was when I was younger, then that would mean so much to me.